Welcome to the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Now here's the Brit on the bit, Louisa Barton. Enjoy the show.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hello, welcome for tuning in this evening. Welcome to the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. We would like to give a shout out to our TV show broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay,
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
And today I'm actually filling in for Louisa Barton. I'm Megan Vanosky with MV Equestrian Ocala.
And I'm Dancin Pete, and I have Louisa Barton on the phone.
Hi guys, I am happy to be tuning in as a guest instead of a show host. I am in the middle of Dartmoor National Park in Devon in a most incredible cottage. I can hardly even really call it a cottage because it's incredibly big and beautiful, but it is certainly snuggled up into the hillside here with the most amazing views of Dartmoor, where the Dartmoor Ponies roam. And you can hear a bit more about that later on with Carolyn, who we met and interviewed. It's wonderful. She kind of fill in the history a bit on the ponies, but really a incredible spot. Belongs to a very, very dear friend of mine, Jules Evans, who invited me to come and have a few days break with her, and it's just absolutely gorgeous here. And I traveled to England for a quite meaningful reason at this time of year, because as most of our regular viewers know, I lost my dad in February, and last year I missed his birthday in America because I was at Ascot covering the Royal Ascot event here. And I didn't say it, but I thought that I hoped it wasn't his last because he wasn't very well. I didn't want to miss his last birthday. So I did miss his last birthday because I lost him in February this year. So I was determined to come back to England and have his birthday at his graveside, where he was buried at St. Lawrence Church in Meriden, where I was born. So I spent Father's Day and his birthday at his graveside, and my sister, my niece, and I had balloons and flowers and everything for him on his birthday, and we had a picnic, and we just spent some time there at the graveside, and it was very, very meaningful for me to be back. And with him being buried here, I just wanted to come home. So it was a very, very important time for me to spend. This is my first Father's Day without him, and and his birthday falling in the same week. And I came back to cover Ascot again, and Jules Evans accompanied me to help, and that was wonderful. So we had a great experience, a chance to see Royal Ascot and be there and get some coverage for the show, which I'll be sharing much more next week on the show about that with Helen Bobs on. And I'll talk a little bit in a minute about what her connection is, as she lives there in our area. But just having the Ascot experience, seeing the royal family arrive, really quite incredible. The royal procession, as they call it, before the races. So that was incredible. And then, of course, I had some wonderful family time with my aunt and my cousins, who I haven't spent time with probably since I was in my teens. Not a great deal of time anyway. So having that experience, and then a ride, sort of go-to place in Devon, and we'll be talking more about it again next week on the show, is Cholwell Riding Stables in Devon, where the wonderful Donna takes us out, and we get to go for a canter across the moor, which is a very, very special experience. And again, we'll be covering that more next week when I'm back. So just some really phenomenal experiences. And out here on Dartmoor, the ponies just wander around. They're standing in the road and wandering across the fields, and suddenly foals pop up in front of you when you're driving. It's really quite an experience, and you don't get a better tour guide than Jules Evans, by the way, if you ever get to Devon, and no better place to ride than Cholwell Riding Stables. here on the moor. So it's just been a mixture of business and pleasure, but also just a little bit of time to get away and reflect on some things and see some family. It's been very special.
Very exciting.
Yes, it's been wonderful. I'll be sharing lots and lots more of that next week. But some things that are actually going on in the horse world that are definitely worthy of mention, both coming sort of from the racing side, and as I mentioned, the interesting experience at Royal Ascot was our very own Helen and Joe Barbizon were there. And of course, they're just north of Ocala in Williston, just across the county line at Pleasant Acres Farm. And that is a very big deal breeding operation for the thoroughbred world. And they breed some phenomenal Florida bred racehorses and have for years and years and years. And Helen and
So
Joe
we
very, very
had a
successful.
We had a Florida bred at Ascot, so in England.
We did indeed. Helen and Joe were there, and Lenny Lou is her name, and she ran in the Queen Anne Stakes. And what's very interesting, and I'm going to share more of this next week on the show because Helen's going to come in and visit with us next Tuesday. But what's very interesting is it's a big deal when there's 20 horses in the Kentucky Derby and we say, oh my gosh, that's more horses than we ever see in races in America. But at Royal Ascot, it's quite common to have that or more. And she ran against some of the very, very top horses in the world in this race. And I don't remember exactly how many were in it, but plenty. And she ran third. So third to two really of the top horses around the world. And for a Florida bred to travel as far as she did and run against those horses is pretty impressive. So I think we're going to see a lot more of this horse. And I think it's going to be very exciting, especially looking towards sort of the Breeders' Cup. I think we're going to see her show up there in a big, big way. So, yeah, it was fantastic that Helen and Joe were here and that they got to go to Ascot and see the horse that, was born at their farm just north of Ocala, run in the Queen Anne Stakes. So it was very exciting. Lovely home connection there that we like to have back to Ocala. And then in a little bit more sad, on the sad side of news, I don't like the sad side of news, but have to share that a very, very dear friend who I admire absolutely, probably the most in, other than perhaps Mark Cassey, admire the most in horse racing is D. Wayne Lucas. And he's had a bad run with some illness that has affected him. And he has announced that he is retiring from horse racing. I think he's the only trainer that is in the Quarter Horse Hall of Fame and the Thoroughbred Racing Hall of Fame. 89 years old. This is a gentleman that is up on that beautiful pony horse of his out on the track every day. So I know it's probably not easy for him to be retiring because that's been his life for probably 60 years plus. And so we're very, very sad to hear that he's not well, and we're going to be praying and hoping that he has some healing and resting time, and that he's able to spend time with his family. And Bass Nickel, Englishman and a veteran, is his second in command there, his assistant trainer, and he is going to be carrying on.
Louisa, we are running out of time for this segment, so...
Okay, very quickly, Bass Nichol's taking over, so it will all go on at D. Wayne Lucas's, but we're going to send the very best positive thoughts out for him. And you guys have a great show.
All right, see ya. Stay tuned.
Bye.
Grateful for the foundation of excellence laid over 40 years ago by their founders, Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care continues to provide excellence in ambulatory and emergency care, surgery, internal medicine and sports medicine, with a lab and pharmacy, as well as the best in reproductive services at their Advanced Facility Centre in Summerfield. For more information, find them at petersonsmith.com or like them on Facebook now. The Larson family has been farming hay in Idaho for generations, with a mission to always provide high-quality hay products at a fair and reasonable price. Larson Hay loves to meet new customers while always honouring the ones they already have. Find Larson Hay on the web at larsonhay.com, like them on Facebook, and definitely visit one of their locations. Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and our television broadcast sponsor.
Faulty wiring is the leading cause of barn fires, and equine facilities have special electrical needs. The knowledgeable and licensed team of electricians at Pat Myers Electric will ensure you can achieve your vision for a safe and functional horse facility. For new builds, rewires, and updating, Pat Myers Electric team is ready to jump in and help keep your horses safe. With a farm of our own, we know you cannot take chances. For all your current barn needs, go to patmyerselectric.com.
Love presents itself in so many ways. It can be difficult to describe the bond between human and horse because it really transcends words. As we prepare for each ride, the most important thing in our mind is our horse's health and safety. Are we playing our part in this remarkable relationship? We want to go to sleep every night knowing that we did everything in our power to preserve this special bond. Piranha Animal Health, for the love of the horse.
The team of professionals at Equifence of Florida specialize in equestrian fencing, offering great communication, quality fencing, and all done in a timely manner. Reliable service with horse safety in mind all the time. Also offering customized residential, vinyl, wood, aluminium, and chain link fences services. Equifence of Florida, quality fencing done right to keep your animals safe. For more information, find Equifence of Florida on Facebook now.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. We're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. We want to give a big shout out and thank you to Larson Hay, our TV show broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
My name is Megan Vanosky, and I am attempting to fill in for Louisa this week.
And I'm Dancin Pete Rodda.
And so we have a lot scheduled for you today. So the next segment, we're going to kind of talk to Dr. Cayot about the West Nile virus. The segment after that, we will be talking with Tommy Turner about
walk and stop.
The walk and stop, such a great phase. And then we are going to talk about some training stuff, Pete and I. And we are also going to have Carolyn Owen come out, and she is going to talk to us about the wonderful Dartmoor Ponies that Louisa was talking to us about. And we will finish off the show just like we always do every single week with all of the wonderful tips of the week. So again, we're going to get in with Dr. Cayot about the West Nile virus.
Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show and the CEP's Equine Initiative here with Dr. Adam Cayot from Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. And we are going to talk about something we haven't talked about for a while, just to kind of get you up to date on what West Nile is and why it's so important to be vaccinated.
So West Nile is an encephalididae virus that's carried by mosquitoes. So they carry the virus, and they pick it up from another animal, and then multiple bites they can deposit that virus in the victim, so to speak. So typically what you'll see, West Nile can vary quite extremely in clinical signs. So from just some muscle twitching around their face, and typically you'll see it around their face, around their muzzle, to the horse being completely recumbent and unable to stand. So you can kind of have quite a wide gamut of clinical presentation. Either way, pretty much is just supportive therapy for, how you treat them. You certainly try to give them anti-inflammatories, Banamine, a steroid, favorite anti-inflammatory of choice, and try to get them through the sign until they recover. Luckily with West Nile, most horses do recover completely. Some don't, but most of them do. And obviously the less significant the signs, the more likely they are to recover completely. Luckily, I haven't seen West Nile in quite a while, but 20 years ago when it was...
There was a lot more, wasn't there?
Oh, gosh. Oh, I mean, this was kind of even before the vaccine. I during the summer, I'd see 5 a day. I mean, it was crazy.
So the vaccine has obviously really
The vaccine
helped.
is,
For sure.
seems like it's done quite well, and so we keep that. That's a common arsenal, just like your Eastern and Western and tetanus. So it can be scary. Any neurologic thing can be quite alarming.
Yes, indeed.
And you have to put it, any neurologic symptom, you have a differential that you go down the list. Any neurologic horse, you also have to be worried about rabies. And the reason you worry about rabies is obviously it can be transmitted. Most of the time it's not rabies, but you have to put that on the list. Certainly if the horse has been vaccinated against rabies, then it's less likely. The other neurologic things that you worry about are Eastern encephalitis. Those horses, if they happen to do that.
And is there a test so you can find out?
The bad part about the test is you have to do it, because if it's like Eastern encephalitis, even West Nile, they're reportable, so they have to be reported to the state. So you really should run the blood test. The general thing about the blood test is the horse is either better or not better, meaning probably deceased by the time you get the results back, but at least you have a definitive diagnosis.
Right. So in other words, you would probably assume and start treatment.
Basically, you treat them the same way. It doesn't. All neurologic things you kind of treat the same way. Supportive care with fluids if necessary, anti-inflammatories, and try to get them through their episode. Luckily, most horses do recover, like I said, from West Nile. If it's Eastern encephalitis, those horses do not recover. It's like 99% fatal.
Is it really that high?
So they typically don't make it, but those are all things that you think about.
And again, just to mention, for those moving out from out of state, we do recommend those vaccines twice a year, as opposed to maybe once where you were before. So very important. And obviously what you're telling us about that is that I do actually remember when the West Nile became a big thing to vaccinate for. I remember that happening because suddenly it was added to the vaccines. And I remember then, especially living down in South Florida, that quite a lot of cases of West Nile. And now you're right, I never really hear about it.
Don't hear about it as much.
Well, that's good news, right? So if you have any questions, you can call Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care at 352-237-6151. And before we get any further into the summer, get your vaccines up to date. Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show and the CEP's Equine Initiative.
So a lot of helpful information there, right?
Yes, and one thing I would add to it is make sure water troughs are cleaned out regularly, because a lot of people don't realize, it looks all right, but mosquito larvae is in there.
Yep, standing water.
Standing water. If you have standing water, get rid of it. Now, if you have a pond, you've got mosquitoes, but even reducing the populations of mosquitoes can help with West Nile.
Yes, and there are plenty of safe options for that. I use one of them for all of my little ponds that are around where I live, because I live around a lot of areas where people have their own little man-made ponds in their backyard. So I have distributed it to all of my neighbors.
Very good.
So it's been very helpful.
Yeah, and I remember when West Nile, I was actually worked for a vet pharmaceutical company when that came out. And we didn't get the initial vaccine, but then we developed the vaccine that took over, and then that other company created a vaccine that was comparable, but they got a speed vaccine out to just protect what they
stop
could.
What was happening,
right?
Because it was crazy.
It was, I mean, even what was being said that in the public was not exactly the vet I rode with would say that they had way more going on than what they wanted to tell the public.
Yeah, and it creates a little bit of a frenzy.
Oh, yes.
So, yes, vaccinate your horses.
Yes, especially if you're going to do anything twice a year, West Nile is something.
Absolutely top of the list.
Oh, yeah.
And just kind of touching on what Dr. Cayot was saying about the symptoms and the signs, you can go from a basic muscle tremor to, like he said, coming out to your paddock and your horse being completely lateral and recumbent. So I always say, always look at your horse at least once a day, at least, and not look at it from across the paddock. Touch it, rub your hands up and down their legs, note any cuts, scrapes, lacerations, muscle tremors that aren't something that your horse normally does, anything abnormal.
Well,
you know?
he also mentioned it can also be signs of other things, because the vet I worked with thought it was West Nile, and it was actually rabies.
Oh.
Yeah, and he actually got bit, so he had to go and get all the shots.
Yeah, so anything abnormal, call your vet.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with calling your vet and being a little over the top. I think they would rather you call and ask questions and have them come out before things get really bad. Yeah.
That was a good segment.
It really was. We appreciate it. And on the next segment, we will be talking with Tommy Turner, doing that little walk-in stop.
With Equifence.
Yeah, so we'll be right back.
Equine Therapy International offers state-of-the-art equipment to enhance your horse's performance, fitness, strength and rehabilitation with hand-picked and proven range of products, including PEMF and massage therapy rugs, leg wraps, boots, pads and lasers, equine water treadmills, cold salt water spas, combi floors, dry treadmills, solariums, nebulizers and more. For more information, go to equinetherapyint.com or find them on social media. Repair, perform and recover with Equine Therapy International.
DAC Vitamins and Minerals has been making a world of difference for 35 years. Do you know what sets DAC apart? We use chelation minerals from Alltech, which allows for better absorption. DAC is the only supplement company Alltech provides ingredients for. We have our nutritionist, Performance Horse Nutrition, NASP, which is the quality seal, which guarantees our products and ensures our use of quality ingredients. DAC gives you a guaranteed analysis in every 1 ounce scoop, a 60-day money-back guarantee. Doesn't your partner deserve the best? Visit feeddac.com.
At Florida HVAC Services, air conditioning is a mathematical process. There's no guessing in what size unit your home needs. Florida HVAC Services uses manual J-heat load calculations in diagnosing to guarantee your home is sized properly to control humidity and temperature, thus providing comfort all year round. With flat rate pricing, trained experts, and total peace of mind. For more information, go to flhvacservices.com. They are the air you breathe. The Larson family has been farming hay in Idaho for generations, with a mission to always provide high-quality hay products at a fair and reasonable price. Larson Hay loves to meet new customers while always honoring the ones they already have. Find Larson Hay on the web at larsonhay.com, like them on Facebook, and definitely visit one of their locations. Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and our television broadcast sponsor.
Cut through the noise and distinguish your business with a custom vehicle wrap from Smash Wraps. Get noticed with eye-catching vehicle wraps that showcase your brand's identity and earn you more business. If you're looking for a custom-designed vinyl wrap for horse trailers, box trucks, cars, or pickup trucks, for a single fleet vehicle, or for 100, no job is too big for the Smash Wraps team. Make your appointment to set your business apart today. Find us on social media or at smashwraps.com. And remember, don't just wrap it, smash wrap it.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934. Manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at seminolefeed.com.
Grateful for the foundation of excellence laid over 40 years ago by their founders, Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care continues to provide excellence in ambulatory and emergency care, surgery, internal medicine and sports medicine with a lab and pharmacy, as well as the best in reproductive services at their Advanced Facility Center in Summerfield. For more information, find them at petersonsmith.com or like them on Facebook now.
Hey, this is Buck Brannaman. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. We'd like to give a big thank you and shout out to Larson Hay, our TV show broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
And for the third segment on the Horse Talk Show, we have a walk-in stop with Dancin Pete Rodda and Tommy Turner with Equifence.
So we're at a gate, and Tommy's going to go over gate. This can really help people because I don't know as much about gates as Tommy does. So gates are important. They can prevent your livestock from getting in and out, your horses from getting hurt. So Tommy, what do you see on this?
Typical farmhand gate install, which is not horrible, plenty of post. It's very solid, actually quite solid. Sort of impressed with that. Good job.
I didn't do it.
Oh, you didn't do it?
No, sir.
Oh, I would have taken credit for that one.
Okay.
Just saying, next time. Probably...
I'm honest, sorry.
I mean, honestly, the biggest thing is, you know, and it's probably splitting hairs. This is, the hinge pins are a little small,
okay.
Which is going to allow play.
Okay.
You know, could have used, this is probably 5/8. The gate would require 3/4.
Okay.
But I mean, other than that, really, it's pretty good. You know, a little high as far as a professional install would be. You know, we try and keep ours flush with the tops.
And why would that be important?
Just aesthetics, really. Right. I mean, it's, you know, some people want them high up off the ground. There's plenty of room here. I'm nitpicking it. Yeah, and so if that was installed down lower, right, you could have made that flush at the top, and these are adjustable, so you could have moved this, not you, but it could have been moved down here a little bit lower, set that in. You know, it's again, is it secure? Sure. Does it work? Absolutely. Is it how I would have installed it as a contractor? No. But
so if we went and drilled holes lower, would that be a problem, or would we have to replace the whole post?
No, you can just move these if you felt the need and wanted to. Again, is it wrong? No, just not how I would have done it.
There's a better way.
Right.
That's the best way to say it.
These can be moved down. Again, the gate's hung plenty high enough. There's room to go down. I mean, I've seen a lot of cow farms. They'll hang these gates high, but they usually use a 16-foot gate, and so they get them way up down to allow for that swing. And eventually a 16-foot gate's going to sag. It's just going to happen. It's just going to happen.
So what about the post to hook on to keep
high
it open?
Post, you know, it stops it from banging around and the wind catching it. Again, if you were to take that post and cut it off, it's where you set the gate on top of it.
Right.
It's not going to blow around in the wind.
Right.
And it's going to support the weight.
So you would recommend put another post right beside it, the height of that gate, to set it on?
You won't even need the chain if you set the post on, the gate on top of it.
Right.
Again, is that, that's something where safety of an animal, not tripping over, if it's not a tripping hazard, not going to get hit by a vehicle, it needs to be a safe application.
Well, I would leave the post and just add that piece.
Sure, you can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
If it's a gate that's going to be left open all the time, I don't recommend that unless it's something that's going to be left open a lot.
Right.
And if it's left open, honestly, that much,
should be taken.
Just take it off.
Yes, sir.
Just take it off. That's
the versatility of being able to shut it if we needed.
Sure. I mean, if it's going to be closed at some point, leave it on. Do what you have to do. But if it's just a gate and it's never closed, just take it off.
Okay. Let's walk down and I'll show you the one that doesn't have a gate.
Okay.
Fence boards that were painted right after it was put up.
Yep. That's exactly what that is. That was a wet board with paint put over top of it.
And you like our angled cuts?
Yeah, so this is not the angle that I recommend. This is not the angle that that's one cut, preferably.
Like the post over there.
Sure. That's some artistic cutting.
That's right.
But yeah, this is not, this was dull chain, probably maybe hit a nail, had to stop, come back in from the other side. I mean, it's hard to say, but yeah, this is not recommended. That's not a proper.
And then screws.
So you can't even see the screw head. So like these, you can see the screw head. So you could find those to be able to get them out. This is what we were talking about earlier. You cannot find that screw head. Chances are you're going to strip that screw head out, and you're not going to get it out. So now you got to beat the board. You're probably going to break this board to get it off. So
gotcha. All right, let's go down.
See that?
Yes.
So I'm assuming you're going to hinge the gate on this side.
Yes, sir.
So every time it opens and closes, see that movement?
Yes, sir.
What do you think it's going to do over time?
It's going to lean.
More and more and more every time. If I stay there and kept doing this, it's going to push this post. It's
Quit pushing my post.
But I want to show you
I know.
a little bit of movement just from me.
Right.
I'm not even putting any weight in it.
Right.
I'm just kind of bouncing on it. And there's a little bit of flex to it. So again, 3/4 wrap, not horrible. Farm guy. It's, it's at least it's safer.
Right.
It's safer. Try not to leave tails with sharps, something get in this corner, because this fence is technically on the incorrect side.
So it should be on.
It should be on this side.
The side of.
This is your horse side.
Horse side.
Your
livestock
side. Your containment side. Material should be on the inside.
So it was fine when you split a pasture, but when it comes down here.
And that's the other thing. So anytime you split pastures, if you're only using one fence, one side's going to be unsafe.
Right.
It's just the nature of the beast. Unless you put two fence lines in and separate those paddocks, one side's going to be more unsafe than the other. And it's just, unless you double fence, and then you might as well build two fences because the cost is there.
Right.
Take tails off, or at least take a hammer, bend them around, fold them in.
Okay.
Take another staple and tighten that up.
Right.
Get them to where they're not going to hang up on something. But at least it's not out here.
Okay.
When you walk by someone, with a nice shirt on and get caught on it. And other than that, probably should come by a job site. Let me tell you how to drive a staple. So typically, I can tell you, not every time, but typically this is too light of a hammer.
Okay.
So staples want to be hit 2-3 times hard.
Okay.
Not tap, 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 tap. They want to be drove, not.
So once again, feel that he understands by doing it many times. I haven't done as many hours, so I don't have the feel that is needed.
And I can tell you did use a milled face hammer. Yes, you did use a milled face hammer, which is good. So when you're setting staples, you don't want a smooth faced hammer. You want a milled faced hammer.
Okay.
That milled face grabs and holds that staple. So on a smooth,
I just grabbed a hammer.
On a smooth face hammer, setting staples, you will get that deflection a lot. And so when you hit it, it's going to kick over. It's going to drive crooked, or So you did use a milled face hammer, which is, and you can tell because it's rough.
So once again, we get deeper into what somebody of that level of doing it for 15 plus years understands. So I just use a hammer. I don't know what all that is about, but because Tommy's got the background, this is why walk and stop is so important, because yes, I can get by. Tommy would say, yeah, you could fix some fence for me. I wouldn't want to do it full time. So Tommy would have to teach me a lot, and I'd love to learn to come on job site, because that's what I always tell people is, yes, learning from the professionals can really help you on bettering your property and know when to call you.
Absolutely.
So walk and stop. Thanks again, Tommy. Equifence. Tommy, say goodbye to the folks for Walk and Stop.
Goodbye, folks. See you next time.
Grateful for the foundation of excellence laid over 40 years ago by their founders, Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care continues to provide excellence in ambulatory and emergency care, surgery, internal medicine and sports medicine, with a lab and pharmacy, as well as the best in reproductive services at their Advanced Facility Centre in Summerfield. For more information, find them at petersonsmith.com or like them on Facebook now. The Larson family has been farming hay in Idaho for generations, with a mission to always provide high-quality hay products at a fair and reasonable price. Larson Hay loves to meet new customers while always honouring the ones they already have. Find Larson Hay on the web at larsonhay.com, like them on Facebook, and definitely visit one of their locations. Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and our television broadcast sponsor.
Faulty wiring is the leading cause of barn fires, and equine facilities have special electrical needs. The knowledgeable and licensed team of electricians at Pat Myers Electric will ensure you can achieve your vision for a safe and functional horse facility. For new builds, rewires, and updating, Pat Myers Electric team is ready to jump in and help keep your horses safe. With a farm of our own, we know you cannot take chances. For all your current barn needs, go to patmyerselectric.com.
We're a unique, tough breed. We work long, hard hours making sure your horses are healthy and properly shod, because, well, we farriers know horses perform better when they're properly shod and healthy. You want quality horse products, supplements, and farrier supplies at affordable prices, and you won't settle for anything less.
TT Distributors is dedicated to quality horse products, supplements, and farrier supplies at affordable prices. Racehorse or a pasture pony, TT Distributors has what you need. 7715 West Highway 40, Ocala.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934, manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at SeminoleFeed.com.
At Florida HVAC Services, air conditioning is a mathematical process. There's no guessing in what size unit your home needs. Florida HVAC Services uses manual J-heat load calculations in diagnosing to guarantee your home is sized properly to control humidity and temperature, thus providing comfort all year round. With flat rate pricing, trained experts, and total peace of mind. For more information, go to flhvacservices.com. They are the air you breathe. Ocala Dog Ranch offers a variety of services for your dog, including agility training, barn hunt training, board and train, boarding long and short term, daycare, day training, dock diving training and competitions, disc dog, swimming lessons and pool rentals, lure coursing, and obedience training classes. Check out Ocala Dog Ranch at ocaladogranch.com. Ocala Dog Ranch is your home away from home for your dog and more.
I'm Tick Maynard, and you're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Welcome back to the second half of the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet,
your hometown Chevy experience.
We would like to give a big shout out to Larson Hay, our TV show broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
All right, so we have a really interesting one. I might be biased because it's me and Pete. But we have a few topics that we are going to discuss today. So the first one we're going to talk about is cross tying.
Cross tying. So this is 4 questions we came up with in 8 minutes. So it's going to go fast, hopefully. Yes. So cross tying. Do you do it? Do you believe in it? What's the pros and cons? I'm not a big fan of cross tying. How about you, Megan?
I'm kind of in the middle. I'm a love-hate. As you saw in that picture, I clearly use cross ties. I do not like the cross ties where there is just opened back, where like a horse can go backwards. I feel like that just kind of sets your horse up for a little bit of a failure in case there's no horse is perfect, everybody can have a day. And I feel like that just sets them up for flying backwards or
But your front is open so they can also go forward.
Bolting forward or turning, and then they get caught in the cross ties, and then that's a whole situation. I'm not a big fan of that. However, I do use cross ties again, like you saw. I can't say I don't. But I'm very particular about who I put in cross ties. Pete and I were talking about one of the little trouble mares that I currently have, and she is one that I do not put on cross ties. She just, we're at square one right now with her, so we're just kind of getting handling under control.
For me, cross ties and tying a horse is a necessary evil because sometimes you're on the side of the road or you have to get the horse. You can't put him in a paddock or a stall and you got to tie him because there's no room. So yes, you got to teach your horse to tie or cross tie. But I always see the problems is horses move their hind end. That's a red flag to me. He's trying to get away, but he can't because he's tied in with his nose or on a post. So I always tell people, until your horse is ready to cross tie, you should be able to do whatever you're doing at liberty.
Yes.
Out in a round pen or a field before you ever cross tie, and teach them to cross tie so that they now know, oh, that's not bothering me. However, you still can have an accident.
Yes. Yes.
Because they have nowhere to go, and they're now, so horses fight, flight, freeze, or faint. So I've seen them do it in cross ties. They'll fight, start pulling at people, kicking at people. I've seen them flight, try to get away, and they can't, so they explode and then get loose.
Yep.
And then freeze. A lot of horses are frozen in the cross ties.
Yes.
Now, fainting, I haven't seen in a cross tie, but I'm sure it could happen.
Yes, I've seen that, but it wasn't because the horse was cross-eyed. They were sedated, and the horse just
fell,
enjoyed his little cocktail a little too much.
Okay, so bidding. So here's question 2.
Yes.
Bidding. How many wrinkles? What do you think about putting a bit in their mouth? What's your...
So I think bits are great. However, just like a lot of other stuff, I feel like they can be extremely detrimental, excuse me, in the wrong hands. I think it's a great idea to introduce every horse to a bit, especially ones that are going to be resold. For me, at least, I never know where, this next horse is going to go if they prefer bits. Some people just have that, it's a safety belt for them. If they don't have a bit in their horse's mouth, they just feel like they can't control it. And that's everybody's preference. When I'm fitting a bit, I want to make sure that as far as the wrinkles are concerned, no more than 2. I actually grew up with all of my trainers saying 3 or more, and I am strongly, strongly against that. It just is too tight. It's just too tight.
So where wrinkles come from is military. So some sergeant probably got in trouble because one of his privates had put the bit in and it popped out while they were getting inspected by the lieutenant, and he got chewed out. So then it was 2 to 3 wrinkles guaranteed, so that wouldn't happen. So I actually don't want a wrinkle. I want to be able to take both sides of the bit and push it forward, and it should hang into their mouth where it's not falling out of their mouth, but it's not up in there. I want to teach the horse to pick the bit up and hold it. And when putting on and off a bit, I put it on the last hole usually to take it on and then take it off and then tighten it when it's on. So one time I was riding my mare, who I taught this, and I got done with my ride and it was still on the last hole. So at any moment she could have spit
Just
the bit.
let it go.
Yeah, almost out of her mouth. Yeah. So that's where, and people don't realize I learned about the tongue, it has a roll in it if you look in their mouth. And so when you push that tongue up there with that wrinkles, they can't swallow. So then you get lots of foam, and we think that's great, but it's also too much because they can't swallow.
Studies have been shown otherwise. Yes.
All right, question number 3.
Ooh, buddy sourness. Yes. Oh man, that's my back pocket right now. I feel like if you haven't been in horses, if you've been in horses for a while, you've at least experienced a buddy sour horse at least once in your life. What are kind of your favorite things to do?
So buddy sourness, or what some people call buddy sweetness. So for people that don't know this, that means you can't leave another horse. So he has a buddy and you can't leave it. So a couple strategies I use is I go a certain distance away before they get into a panic, and I stop and I wait. And then after a few minutes, I come back, and then I go further out. Most people do the opposite. They take them away and go, I'm taking them to the other side of the farm, and that can work. However, if you have an extreme case, if you bring that horse back to the other horse before he's relaxed, you've actually made it worse. And I've seen horses that won't calm down because they were weaned improperly. And that's where a lot of buddy sourness is, because they were weaned too quickly from their mom. So they go, oh my gosh, I have a buddy and now I'm going to leave. And they're gregarious animals. That means they're supposed to have another horse around them. So I've used that. I've also used the strategy of have another person and send the one horse away from the other one. So he goes, oh, he doesn't want me around anymore. I want to be with you.
That's a good one.
So there's a few different strategies, and getting them for me to be the buddy, hanging out with them, not just telling them what to do every 5 seconds.
Making it fun.
Yeah. Yes. Hey, we're going to go graze over here, and I'm going to become your buddy.
Yes, yes. That's actually the method that I used recently with one of my clients. She has a Mustang who does not know how to be away from her best friend, and the best friend does not know how to be away from her. So it's been interesting to work one while the other one's running around, but that just little baby steps, taking them away to give them that opportunity to think and regulate on their own, and then rewarding that behavior by bringing them back.
Yeah, before they get in a panic.
Yeah, before they reach that threshold. Yes.
Okay, last question. Groundwork.
Oh, why
do we do it?
Yes, why is it important? I feel like biggest thing is I like to call it like a lesson in language. I feel like, for instance, for school kids, you go to school, you learn how to, you learn what the alphabet is, then you learn how to write letters, and then you learn how to write words, sentences, so on and so forth. I feel like groundwork is kind of setting that foundation for the horse as you get on them and as you start to do more work with them, and you build this great little foundation. So as you do more and more, they tune into you more, they understand what you're actually trying to say, and they're confident.
Good. And what I believe in groundwork is, I have a saying, play on the ground like you're riding, ride like you're playing on the ground. There is no difference. So when I teach people, I'm teaching them on the ground with the concept of what's that going to be when we ride? That's your inside leg. Hey, that's him moving off your leg. Hey, that's moving off the rein. So it's the same thing. And I always go back to the Spanish riding school. They spend years on the ground before they ride.
Absolutely.
So that's our 4 questions in 8 minutes on horsemanship. Hopefully you learned something.
Yeah, and we will be back with another one.
World-class equine rehab promoting faster recovery is available at the Equine Performance Centre Ocala. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, an underwater treadmill, a saltwater spa, an aquapacer, MagnaWave, a vibration plate, swimming pool, massage and laser therapies. With post-surgical care, memberships, packages and BOGOs. EPC delivers a rejuvenated horse through proven and innovative rehab. Like Equine Performance Centre now on Facebook and find them on the web at epcrehab.com.
We're a unique, tough breed. We work long, hard hours making sure your horses are healthy and properly shod because, well, we farriers know horses perform better when they're properly shod and healthy. You want quality horse products, supplements, and farrier supplies at affordable prices, and you won't settle for anything less.
TT Distributors is dedicated to quality horse products, supplements, and farrier supplies at affordable prices. Racehorse or a pasture pony, TT Distributors has what you need. 7715 West Highway 40, Ocala.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934. Manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at SeminoleFeed.com.
Cut through the noise and distinguish your business with a custom vehicle wrap from Smash Wraps. Get noticed with eye-catching vehicle wraps that showcase your brand's identity and earn you more business. If you're looking for a custom-designed vinyl wrap for horse trailers, box trucks, cars, or pickup trucks, for a single fleet vehicle, or for 100, no job is too big for the Smash Wraps team. Make your appointment to set your business apart today. Find us on social media or at smashwraps.com. And remember, don't just wrap it, smash wrap it.
At Palm Chevrolet in Ocala, our customers say it best.
Oh, the prices were great. They were actually unbeatable.
Thanks, Miss Delara. At Palm Chevy, we do our best to give you our best price and payment without the games. And our entire team is committed to making your experience in sales or service pleasant and hassle-free.
It's been a pleasure doing business around here.
Thanks, Mr. Hars, and we think you'll agree. Visit us today at Palm Chevrolet, Southwest College Road in Ocala, or at palmchevrolet.com. Find new roads.
Equine Therapy International offers state-of-the-art equipment to enhance your horse's performance, fitness, strength and rehabilitation with hand-picked and proven range of products, including PEMF and massage therapy rugs, leg wraps, boots, pads and lasers, equine water treadmills, cold saltwater spas, combi floors, dry treadmills, solariums, nebulizers and more. For more information, go to equinetherapyint.com or find them on social media. Repair, perform and recover with Equine Therapy International.
This is Charlotte Cannon, and you are listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet,
your hometown Chevy experience.
We'd like to give a big shout out and thank you to Larson Hay, our TV show broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
All right, for our final segment, we are doing Carolyn Owen. She's an incredible volunteer at the Dartmoor Ponies over where Louisa is right now.
Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show on Dartmoor with Carolyn Owen, and we are going to talk a little bit about the Dartmoor Ponies. How lovely to run into you today.
It was complete fluke. I was just I've got a day off, and so I thought I'd do an extra stint through here checking these ponies today.
So now you're getting interviewed for an American Horse Talk Show. So that's good, isn't it?
So excited.
It's lovely. So Carolyn, tell us a little bit about what you do here and kind of how you volunteer with these wonderful ponies.
Okay, so I first got involved volunteering, training the foals when they each year the foals are born on Dartmoor. And then they are drifted in the autumn, September, October, and then hopefully sold. If they're not sold, then a lot of them come through the Friends of the Dartmoor Hill Pony, and we have a barn and we look after them all winter and we spend the winter training them. My involvement started with joining that training team and growing that training team really, because we need more people. We have so many foals.
Would you hire me?
So we spend a lot of the winter training foals, like you can see around. When they've grown up a little bit and they've been weaned from their mothers. When the drifts happen, the mothers are checked and then they go back out on the moor. And that's what they're doing, the most important job. They come back on the moor and they graze the moor in a very sympathetic manner, keeping the grass down, the gorse back, battering stuff down. All the animals on the moor are doing an ecological job for us. They are all looking after our environment. So the cows graze in a different way to the sheep or ponies, so they all have a different place on the moor. We, the charity, want as many ponies on the moor as we can possibly get away with. We basically want to support them on the moor. Now, these are not Dartmoor ponies. These are Dartmoor Hill ponies, okay. And there is a difference.
Okay. What's the difference between the Dartmoor Hill pony and the Dartmoor pony?
Well, all of these ponies around us look very like Dartmoor ponies. And back in Victorian times, they started the stud book for the Dartmoor pony, and they selected a lot of lovely hill ponies, brown, black, or grey, and they crossed them with an Arab stallion, and they made the Dartmoor pony, which is a beautiful show pony, beautiful. They also crossed up onto Arabs to get polo ponies, because that was obviously a big thing.
Lovely.
So we see the Dartmoor pony as a Victorian breed, beautiful ponies, and a lot of them do run on Dartmoor. But before that, there were these guys, and these guys had a bit more colour to them and differing in size a bit more.
Yeah, seen some different colours.
And these were here. We're trying to do a timeline of how long they've been here, and we know they've been here thousands of years.
Really?
And that's a lot longer than the Dartmoor pony. But these are the hill ponies. That's what we decided to call them back when we had a meeting when they set the charity off 25, 30 years ago. So we support these ponies. We support them being on Dartmoor. We support them when they have to come off Dartmoor. They're all owned by somebody. All the ponies you see on Dartmoor are owned. So, and each farmer who runs ponies has a quota that they're allowed to keep. And so if their mares have foals every year, they can outrun the quota quite quickly. And so they have to find a home for those foals. So it used to be a cash crop. It used to be you bring your mares in, you take your foals off, you send your mares back out, and you send your foals to market, and you came home with a cheque. But it's not that simple anymore, because the market dropped. The ponies weren't allowed to be shipped anymore live. And there was a real season when the ponies had no value. And they were, if they're not paying, the farmers aren't going to keep them. So we've done a lot of work building back up the market. We market them all over the world. We've sent them to lots of Europe. Germany's taken loads. And they do great jobs. They're great temperaments. And they're lovely children's ponies. They go as pack ponies, children's jumping ponies, driving ponies. The whole lot. Companion ponies.
I had one environmental girl, so I know how lovely they are.
Environmental grazers.
Yeah,
which is what these guys are doing here for us. These are in an enclosed, what we call a new take here. We have the right to run ponies in here at the moment. And as you can see, they're doing a wonderful job grazing for us.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And then when we need to add numbers, we can add a few ponies. We've got plenty. Or we can take a few off, depending on what they want for the grazing.
So, of course, with the American Mustangs, there's a big history and story of how they got here. How did the original ponies come here? Were they just roaming wild?
Well, the American horses, as far as I understand it, are not endemic. So they developed there,
right,
when there was a different layout of continents. They crossed over and some sort of ice bridge into what became Europe, including the UK, at various times. So the first ones went a long way and became the Arab pony. The second ones that came down were the big horses that became cold bloods. And then we got these guys last, I think, but don't quote me because I wasn't there.
For thousands of years.
Yeah, thousands of years. So, and these guys obviously got cut off here. I think probably a lot of the country was covered by pony herds like this, but because man spread and we made roads and we cut down forests and we tamed the land and we fenced things, they ended up in pockets. And these ponies are quite closely related to the Cayot ponies in Wales. So we've done blood tests, we're doing the whole DNA bit, which they're doing with the American ponies, I believe.
Yeah.
So
I have an American Mustang, so I have a great. Yeah, they're lovely, aren't they?
Yeah, I do watch some of the rescue stuff that you're doing in America. So yeah.
Carolyn, thank you. Is there any last things you'd like to tell our American audience about this wonderful place?
Be ready for the weather.
Well, we've had blue skies and sun until today, so honestly, this looks rather English, but it's been absolutely
I always
beautiful.
travel with waterproofs, but I always hope I don't need them. But no, the ponies are great. Come and see them anytime. They're friendly. We try to encourage people to look, don't touch. They are wild ponies after all. And there are a couple here who are halter broken, but I'm not telling you which two. You'd never guess. But basically, a lot of these ponies end up in this scheme doing environmental grazing for us because they'd rather not be tamed. So this is a good use of them, and they're doing what they're born for, which is to graze this horseback, bracken back, and the big thing they're eating in here is the Melania grass, which is invasive and takes over. So and horses.
So they're really doing
they eat
job.
it. Yeah. So they are doing a really valuable job.
Carolyn Owen, thank you so much for sharing with us. It's lovely to meet you too, and these amazing ponies. Louisa on Dartmoor here for the Horse Talk Show. Very excited to share the wonderful story of these incredible ponies with all of you.
At Palm Chevrolet in Ocala, our customers say it best.
Oh, the prices were great. They were actually unbeatable.
Thanks, Miss Delara. At Palm Chevy, we do our best to give you our best price and payment without the games. And our entire team is committed to making your experience in sales or service pleasant and hassle-free.
It's been a pleasure doing business around here.
Thanks, Mr. Hars, and we think you'll agree. Visit us today at Palm Chevrolet, Southwest College Road in Ocala, or at palmchevrolet.com. Find new roads.
Love presents itself in so many ways. It can be difficult to describe the bond between human and horse because it really transcends words. As we prepare for each ride, the most important thing in our mind is our horse's health and safety. Are we playing our part in this remarkable relationship? We want to go to sleep every night knowing that we did everything in our power to preserve this special bond. Piranha Animal Health, for the love of the horse.
World-class equine rehab promoting faster recovery is available at the Equine Performance Centre Ocala. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, an underwater treadmill, a saltwater spa, an aquapacer, MagnaWave, a vibration plate, swimming pool, massage and laser therapies. With post-surgical care, memberships, packages and BOGOs, EPC delivers a rejuvenated horse through proven and innovative rehab. Like Equine Performance Centre now on Facebook and find them on the web at epcrehab.com. Equine Therapy International offers state-of-the-art equipment to enhance your horse's performance, fitness, strength and rehabilitation with hand-picked and proven range of products, including PEMF and massage therapy rugs, leg wraps, boots, pads and lasers, equine water treadmills, cold saltwater spas, combi floors, dry treadmills, solariums, nebulizers and more. For more information, go to equinetherapyint.com or find them on social media. Repair, perform and recover with Equine Therapy International. Ocala Dog Ranch offers a variety of services for your dog, including agility training, barn hunt training, board and train, boarding long and short term, daycare, day training, dock diving training and competitions, disc dog, swimming lessons and pool rentals, lure coursing and obedience training classes. Check out Ocala Dog Ranch at ocaladogranch.com. Ocala Dog Ranch is your home away from home for your dog and more.
We're a unique, tough breed. We work long, hard hours making sure your horses are healthy and properly shod because, Well, we farriers know horses perform better when they're properly shod and healthy. You want quality horse products, supplements, and farrier supplies at affordable prices, and you won't settle for anything less.
TT Distributors is dedicated to quality horse products, supplements, and farrier supplies at affordable prices. Racehorse or a pasture pony, TT Distributors has what you need. 7715 West Highway 40, Ocala.
Faulty wiring is the leading cause of barn fires, and equine facilities have special electrical needs. The knowledgeable and licensed team of electricians at Pat Myers Electric will ensure you can achieve your vision for a safe and functional horse facility. For new builds, rewires, and updating, Pat Myers Electric team is ready to jump in and help keep your horses safe. With a farm of our own, we know you cannot take chances. For all your current barn needs, go to patmyerselectric.com.
Hello, I'm Chris Cox, and you're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet,
your hometown Chevy experience.
We want to give one last big thank you and shout out to Larson Hay, our TV show broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
All right, so everybody's favorite segment of the week, we have Tips of the Week, and we're starting off with Dancin Pete Rodda's Tip of the Week.
Dancin Pete's Tip of the Week, brought to you by Complimentary Horsemanship. This tip is sponsored by WildlifeWorksLLC.com for your unwanted wild critters removal. So today's tip of the week is something I've said before, but in a different way. But I always try to get my training students that I'm teaching. So we were doing some liberty lessons with one of my students, and I said something about, nope, you got to keep going and let him find you instead of you finding him. And she got it. And then she was like, you've said that before. And I was like, yeah, I've probably said it 100 times by now. But she goes, but it registered today. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I say it 100 times. It's that 101st time that you're going to get it. So be careful on saying, oh, I know that. Because what you think you know right now might not be what you understand later down the road. Absolutely. And that's why I like to repeat myself. And students go, you've never said that before. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I know what I say, and I've said that probably 50 times by now. So
absolutely.
So yes, be able to hear the same thing over and over because it may mean something different.
Absolutely.
So that's my tip of the week.
All right. So coming up with that, we have Neil Hennessy with Ocala Dog Ranch with his tip of the week.
The Horse Talk Show goes to the dogs at Ocala Dog Ranch.
Neil Hennessy, the owner of Ocala Dog Ranch. Taking your dog to the vet is the most important thing that we can do for our dogs. It's like us going for our annual checkups. It's nice to have your dog go to the vet. Nice to get a relationship with the vet as well, because if you have an emergency, you don't want to be calling around to find out that they're not accepting new customers, which is what we hear quite a bit of because vets are in high demand in Ocala. So get a vet, get your dog in to be checked, get in a relationship with your vet. So you should need an emergency, you have a veterinarian you can call. But you can also go somewhere cheaper to get the shots. We all know everything's getting more expensive as the days go on. But the Humane Society does low-cost vaccinations, and also there's low-cost vaccination clinics that pop up all over town. You just need to look for the billboards. Neil Hennessy, the owner of Ocala Dog Ranch.
What I love about that tip is when they came out with 3-year rabies, I was in college and I was working at a vet clinic, and all the vets were all freaked out because they were worried that people weren't going to bring their dogs in for a checkup, but every 3 years. So having that tip of bring your dog to the vet to get them checked out is so important, and that's a lot of the reasons why you should still go see the vet even though you don't need vaccines. So that's a great tip from Neil.
Yes, absolutely. You never know what you can find when you go to the doctors for your pet.
And now we have the Spark of Ocala, Pat Myers Electric tip of the week.
Yes.
At Pat Myers Electric, we're constantly training to be our absolute best. For all your current barn needs. Hey there, Pat with Pat Myers Electric, the Spark of Ocala, here with your tip of the week, keeping your horses and homes happy and safe. So today I want to speak about breakers. Now, this is a common call we get all the time. A breaker trips and people are beside themselves. They think the whole place is burning down because the breaker tripped, when in actuality, that breaker tripping is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's keeping things safe before there's a bigger problem. Now, taking care of that breaker means when it flips off, you turn it all the way to the off position, then all the way back to the on position to reset it. Now, after you've done that, you need to contact a licensed electrician to find out what happened and why that breaker tripped. For more help, call Pat Myers Electric, serving all your current needs.
Well, that is a great tip from Pat Myers Electric, and I had a experience with flipping a breaker with him. I was in my trailer and all of a sudden the breaker tripped, so I went over there and I flipped it and it popped back off. And so I called him, and he was on vacation, and he was coming home from vacation that evening, and he ran me through, okay, unplug it, do this, now check if it's there now, and is it still popping, make the next extension cord, is it still popping? And he goes, okay, well, we'll be there in an hour. And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, I just stopped and got some tools, we'll be there in an hour. And he opened up my trailer and fixed some wires.
What a great man.
Oh yeah, and because the breaker, and he said the breaker did what it was supposed to do. It protected you from having a fire because two of my wires had sparked and welded itself to the thing. So he had to strip them and reconnect them, and I was like, wow. But yeah, he taught me a lot on the breakers. Like, it's doing its job. Don't try to force it.
Yeah, tips like this are great for people like me who like just call their husband for everything when things go wrong. So that's a good tip.
So now we're going to go on to the news that we haven't covered. The Art to the Rescue, Saturday, November 8th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Ocala Dog Ranch. They will have a whole bunch of fun to paint and do fine crafts, vendors, live music, and food to support the rescue raffle where dogs will dive for a prize.
Oh, that's so much fun.
So it's a dock diving also event. So it's going to be with Neil at Ocala Dog Ranch. So come out and support us. And then the Gentle Carousel Reading with Horses. We have done that. I've gone to all of them this year. That's my plan. So on Thursday, this coming up Thursday, so if you're listening on the radio, you've missed it. We're going to have another reading, another horse. So this is a great group of people that create Gentle Carousel. They're miniature horses that go out to the community and they read a book and then
give therapy.
And then here comes the horse from the book.
Exactly.
And this year they've been having different speakers come up. I got to speak last week and jobs in the horse industry. So we want to support them to come out.
Wonderful cause, a wonderful event.
Definitely.
Great
June 18th,
little company.
The 26th. And July 3rd and July 10th. Come out and check it out. It's in Marion Theater. Piranha Family Foundation Golf Tournament, November 14th, 2025. Piranha supports a lot of great charities, and they are looking for not only golfers, but also to come out and support them and be a sponsor. They've raised $30,000 for the last year, so it's really good.
Wow.
And
the best, we're saving the best for last. Summer camp at Royal Blessings Rescue, highly recommend. They do so much fun stuff. The last camp they did a couple weeks ago, they went out to the Wild Horse Preservation out in Gainesville. They learned so much about wild horses. The whole week leading up to it, they learned about the BLM. And funny enough, it was actually right after the BLM event was held here.
So July 7th through 11th at 9 a.m. to 2, sign up for a coming up event. And that's the end of our show. So if you're in Marion County, the horse capital of the world, or not, happy horsing around. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
At Palm Chevrolet in Ocala, our customers say it best.
Oh, the prices were great. They were actually unbeatable.
Thanks, Miss Delara. At Palm Chevy, we do our best to give you our best price and payment without the games. And our entire team is committed to making your experience in sales or service pleasant and hassle-free.
It's been a pleasure doing business around here.
Thanks, Mr. Hars, and we think you'll agree. Visit us today at Palm Chevrolet, Southwest College Road in Ocala, or at palmchevrolet.com. Find new roads.
World-class equine rehab promoting faster recovery is available at the Equine Performance Centre Ocala. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, an underwater treadmill, a saltwater spa, an aquapacer, MagnaWave, a vibration plate, swimming pool, massage and laser therapies. With post-surgical care, memberships, packages and BOGOs, EPC delivers a rejuvenated horse through proven and innovative rehab. Like Equine Performance Centre now on Facebook and find them on the web at epcrehab.com.
Love presents itself in so many ways. It can be difficult to describe the bond between human and horse because it really transcends words. As we prepare for each ride, the most important thing in our mind is our horse's health and safety. Are we playing our part in this remarkable relationship? We want to go to sleep every night knowing that we did everything in our power to preserve this special bond. Piranha Animal Health, for the love of the horse.